What's up, YouTube? The Scorpion cable lock. Okay, this style of lock is commonly marketed for firearms. However, you can use these things on anything. Cable lock to cable lock to cable lock, okay? However, they are specifically for firearms. But I don't have any firearms that I would ever even want to put one of these things on. All mine use trigger locks. But I do have the option to use a cable lock on my Savage GXP because it actually came with this thing, okay? However, I do prefer trigger locks where trigger locks can be used because they are better than cable locks, because cable locks can easily be cut with bolt cutters, and depending how cheap a cable lock you buy, a simple pair of pliers that has a cutting edge built in will definitely do the job and makes it way too easy. And that's something we don't want to make is easy, right? So, however, I used this one here that came with my gun. I used this one on my ammo box, and it works, but yeah, the other day it took me nearly 5 minutes to get the key to go into the bloody thing because it didn't want to go for some reason. So I sprayed it with some silicone spray and in hopes that would help, and at first it really didn't do much, but after I guess soaking for a while in there, it finally loosened up whatever may have been problematic, and well, now it's working flawless, but too little too late for it. So I went out to the gun shop in town, which is Ollie's for me. They're actually just up the road a couple of minutes, so it's kind of nice having a gun shop that close. And I bought this for 10 bucks, and it's a combo lock. And so I figured, well, I mean, keys are getting to be overrated, right? I mean, how many freaking keys do you got to carry with you? And, you know, that's the thing. And especially when you're into the whole firearm thing, I mean, if your locks have just keys on them, it's a lot of keys to deal with, right? Then you got to go, oh, which one's for which freaking gun and this and that. And blah. Then you got to have a spare set hidden somewhere at home where nobody can find them except you. Okay, got to keep the kids safe, got to keep everybody else safe, right? Anyways, so with that, I figure combo lock. Remember one set of 3 digits in this case, and we're good to go, right? And write it down somewhere where nobody can find that either, just in case you forget, or you may have a stroke and forget. You never know. I mean, hey, stuff happens in life. However, I did check these out on Amazon to see if Amazon carried this style, and in fact, they do. Their brands are Mizuko, and another one is Real Rand. Now, I've had Real Rand products in the past, and they are really good. But in this case, I'm not going to recommend, you know, going with one of the cable locks that are on Amazon. Why? Well, because for one single one from Rio, they want $17 Canadian, $16.99. Let's just round it. It's a freaking cyber penny, okay? 17 plus tax, okay? And remember, with Amazon, unless you have Prime shipping that you pay for, well, you're going to pay friggin' shipping on that on top. So it's kind of like really not worth your while. But still not, because it's 17 bucks. And it's the same friggin' lock. Exactly the same. Just has the name Real Rand on it, okay? Now, likely it's probably even a cheaper build. I don't know. I don't have one to compare against here. And I ain't spending my hard-earned money, even though I can get a refund, just to go and say, hey, look what you get for 17. This is what you got for 10. You know what I mean? It's the same lock. And Scorpion's better, right? In my brain, because of the price. So, anyways, the Mizuko's, of course, if you buy that as a single, they want $18.99 from Mizuko for the same lock, okay? You can check this out yourself. Just go to Amazon's website, .com.ca, type in cable lock, and you'll find the Mizuko's and the Rios there, and, you know, your price for your country. I'm in Canada, so. But 19 for one is a ripoff. They'll sell you 3, though, for $29. Now, that's good. That makes it 10 bucks a piece. Why can't they sell us a single one for 10 bucks? Lord only knows. But hey, you know what? I can technically buy 2 of these from my local guy and save money in a sense. Because, I mean, come on, $9.99 versus $18.99, right? So it's a buck, right? basically. So I'm kind of looking at this realistically and saying, you know what? This is one of those times I'm not going to recommend shopping on Amazon for firearm locks. And the same goes with their trigger locks, okay? I'm paying $9.99 a pop for Scorpion. And there's one other brand, same price, at my gun shop, right? So why would I give these guys that kind of money that they're asking, which they should be around here somewhere. Yeah, there's the Mizuko's, one of them. $32.99. Okay, now what do we get? Okay, well, we get 3, but for 1 they want $17.99. Now this, of course, is the push button release system. So you put in your combo, push the button in, and those, by the way, are very easy to pick. The ones that the heads rotate, not so easy to pick. So the idea is to keep people out of your stuff that are not authorized. But anyway, it's the same scenario, right? Then you have, I think there's another one, a couple more up here too. I don't know if it's going to be on the same page or not. Every time you search Amazon, it flips what it puts on the main page, even though it's the same search. Yeah, so it didn't give me the other one. So let's go to the next page here. Here's a real Rand, okay, which is basically identical to my Scorpio, or Scorpion. Now, they want $16.99. This is one with the flip head. Now, these are a better quality as far as features go. So you pop in your combo, you twist the head, and then you separate. And then you got to close the head in order to collapse it back together. However, $16.99 for one, when you can get it at your local gun shop for like $9.99. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Okay? So be careful, because 2,758 people got a good ripping on this one, you know. And, well, 1,693 on the real Rands. And the list goes on, right? So that's where you've got to be careful when you're shopping on Amazon, especially when it comes to anything you want for firearms, right? But even a cable lock like this style, if this is what you're after, you got to just really think about it. Hey, is there a cheaper place? Check Cabela's. We have Cabela's in both the countries, right? US and Canada. So check out Cabela's, see what their price is, right? Because there's only one Ole's Armory, and that's in Powassan here, where I live. Canadian Tire does not carry these things. They carry the ones with the key, and it's only one style. It's a piece of junk, in my opinion, okay? So that's kind of where things lie. Now, as far as my review points go on this Scorpio, or Scorpion, I'm going to call it 4.25 out of 5. I mean, everything always loses points because it ain't perfect anyways. I don't believe it deserves a 4.5 out of 5 because the security level is kind of not that great on any cable lock because they're easy to cut. So if you're putting this on a firearm that must only use one of these, like a lever action, right, for example, or maybe you're doing it on a bolt action because you can use them, right? Just be aware, there's not much security here. Anybody can snip that cable with a good pair of heavy-duty pliers or bolt cutters, and that's it. You know, they're in. But at least with a trigger lock, not a chance they're going to get in that easy, okay? They'll pretty much wreck the gun trying, depending on how good they are, I guess. But, you know, some thieves are good at stealing stuff, but they're not good at getting into stuff. But kind of varies. However, I like the push button system, which is nice. Push it, and then just clip it back in, rotate your numbers. Resetting the password is nice and easy. Just push in the button and change your numbers for your password to whatever you want for numbers, right? That's fantastic too. I like it. It's simplicity makes it simple, okay? They all come defaulted at 000, okay, from the factory. So you choose your own numbers, which is kind of nice. Nothing prefixed, okay? Nothing you're forced into. So you just set it to where you want it, and nobody will ever know unless you tell the wrong person or you tell somebody that you probably shouldn't tell anyways. You should never ever give out your combos to any of your locks, right? But the other reason why it's getting a lower mark, other than the security level of it, is because this area, front and back, is countersunk, which is fine, but I find it's too deep even for my fingers. Now, I don't have big, huge hands, but I don't have dainty little fingers, okay? And this is more like for dainty little fingers when you get to the bottom one, okay? It's a bit of a annoyance. The middle and the top are fine to do, but the bottom one's a little bit more tedious, so kind of brings your frustration level up a little bit, right? Other than that, I will say this, it is definitely a really good lock for $10, okay? And that's Canadian dollars, remember that. I'm in Canada, so unless I specify otherwise, Canadian dollars, okay? So, but will I recommend it? Well, over anything Amazon sells? Yes. Would I recommend cable locks? Yes, I will, because they do serve a purpose that works. They will work on firearms that must use them. They'll also work for a variety of other purposes, but you have to get the right length of cable. This is a 15-inch long cable, so basically chop that in half when it's folded. Now, I use this on my one ammo box that's an Armed Forces issue ammo box, and so it's kind of like, well, that works. I mean, this one was working too until it started screwing up. Whoops. So I figured, well, I'll just buy a new one, and even though this is now working properly again, I don't trust it on my ammo box. So, and I definitely don't trust it on a gun. So I'll find another purpose for this. But these ones with the keys are kind of interesting because you just turn it and you open it, which is fine, okay? Now, if you turn the key and pull the key out, but even if you don't pull the key out, you can't put it back in. The key must stay in the open position, then here, and then you can pull it out, because you're gonna develop that habit, right? So it's a habit forming device where, once you have re-rotated, it's locked, okay? And they force you to leave it in with the key in this position to get this open and to push it back in, and that. Now, I don't mind that so much, but the key thing, depending on how many guns you have, you could end up with way too many keys, right? Which will confuse you after a while, right? So I kind of get now why my CFSC instructor loves combination locks, because you can set one combo, especially for 3 digits or whatever, for all of your stuff, and just remember one number. And then write it down somewhere too where you'll never forget. And nobody will know what the number is for anyways unless you specify that on your paper, so don't ever do that. But anyway, but keys become problematic. Plus these are thin, they can bend easy, they can break easy, and good luck getting a new key made. That's the problem. And if you do lose your keys, well, then you're gonna have to cut this off. But at least this, you're not losing keys. You just gotta remember a number and that's it. And like I said, write it down somewhere safe and you're good to go. But, and this is nice. I really love this button system here where we can just push it, pull it, and then clip it back in, and then reset, and then it's locked, right? So, and this being a little bit longer cable is kind of also nice. It's not so crouched in there the way it was using the other one on my ammo cam. So that's also big, huge bonus and win-win right there. So anyway, let me know if you've got any experience with Scorpion locks. Hey, $9.99, man, all day long. And even if you took this price into the US dollars and went backwards with it, you're still overpaying and getting ripped off by Amazon.com when you could probably buy this for about $6 or $7 in the US. And same with your trigger lock, $6, $7 in the US. Why bother buying off Amazon at these prices? So I think maybe somebody should make some comments, I guess. I don't know. But that's my take on it. So I like it. It works. It gets the job done for me. You can also get cable locks as well, even longer than this. If you have French door handles on your refrigerator, lock yourself out of the fridge so you don't get the munchies in the middle of the night, because your eyeballs aren't going to work anyways. You'll be like, you know what I mean? So you're not awake, so it helps you to not eat at night, I guess. I don't know. There was an ad about it, okay? I'm just saying. I'm just, but, anyway. See ya.